Today, there are many who are alarmed by a photo or a video of Justin Bieber, objecting that he does not look well and his actions are erratic. Similarly, there are plenty of controversies around what he posts on his networks. In March 2025, for instance, he uploaded an odd series of images to his Instagram. In one photo, you could see his childhood face. In the next, a shipping container, and in another, a baby. Under all this, he wrote, "I have anger issues, but I want to grow and not react so much." Beyond always generating sales, talking about him, the truth is that the young man has been in a situation as complex as it is strange for years. By 2010, Justin Bieber was a global phenomenon with 2 best-selling albums and worldwide tours. It seemed incredible that this megastar was only 16 years old. He filled stadiums, had millions of fans in all corners, a huge base of followers known as believers, and his television appearances broke the rating of any show. But every success has its flip side. When he was still a teenager, Justin Bieber saw how one of his most successful songs, Baby, was also defenestrated on the net. The music video for that song achieved a bitter record. It was the YouTube video with the most dislikes. A total of 11 million thumbs down, to be more specific. On social networks and mass media, that anti-Bieber campaign was growing. Many questioned his musical quality and his real talent as a pop idol. Even his sexuality, something that was nobody's business, was under media scrutiny. At the same time, Bieber's life seemed to be moving in fast forward, and many predicted a disastrous future. There were plenty of shows where, through morbid curiosity, they announced that he would end up just as bad as most of the American child megastars. That prediction of vices and unrestraint ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy. The higher Justin climbed, the more painful and imminent his fall seemed. Finally, many secrets began to come to light. Shady ties with adult singers, child exploitation, physical and mental health on the brink of collapse, legal troubles, and the ever-present suspicion that many of the things he did happened because he was a victim of even worse acts. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Justin Bieber is a star who, like so many others, grew up in the spotlight and always under public scrutiny. He spent the most decisive years of anyone's life in environments that even many adults are not prepared to navigate. As if this wasn't enough, Justin was almost always alone, without someone to protect him or help him make the right decisions. What were those early years like? Why did he reach the peak of fame so quickly? And what happened next when the industry seemed to stop paying attention to him? What did this popular child see and experience in life that wasn't just people admiring his accomplishments? What did Diddy Combs do to him? How is Justin now? On several occasions, Bieber has spoken about his past and the hell he had to go through to achieve a more or less stable adult life. But there are still many loose ends, many clues that the young artist seems to have left scattered in his music videos and Instagram posts. Even though millions of people follow him, perhaps there is still someone missing who can put all the pieces together and answer the crucial question, what happened to him? And what's going on with Justin? Well, we're going to talk about all of that in this video, so welcome to the dark side of Justin Bieber. The little one. Ontario, in a hospital in London, which is not the English capital, but a city in southwestern Ontario. In Canada, a young mother gave birth to her firstborn on March 1st, 1994. And when Patty Mallette looked at the face of her newborn, she knew it would be the two of them against the world. She named him Justin, and although his father, a carpenter named Jeremy Bieber, gave him the last name, he did little to raise him. In reality, Justin lived only with his mom, while his father had started another family. Patty tried to keep the household afloat, although she had been battling her own demons and a devastating past for a long time. The woman had been a victim of constant sexual abuse throughout her entire childhood, by relatives, neighbors, and even other children older than her. As she grew up, Patty had consumed all kinds of illegal substances and had had trouble with the law. At a young age, she had left her home, and sooner rather than later, she had developed various disorders, such as a case of severe depression, with which she had to deal completely alone. But shortly after becoming of age, she had someone by her side, her own son. It's not surprising, then, that the bond between them was as close as it was suffocating. During her childhood, Patty had dreamed of being famous, and somehow she had passed that dream on to her son Justin. as the young girl had not been able to act in plays or go to all the castings she would have liked because her parents did not want to commit to it. She strived to provide her son ample opportunities to showcase his talent globally. She wanted him to feel supported so that he could accomplish anything he set out to do. Moreover, a premature fame was not only not bad in its right dose, but it would allow them to get out of the financial hole they were in. From the age of 2, Justin showed a natural talent for music, but he was not shaping up to be a pop artist, but a virtuoso musician. And as the years went by, in addition to being good at sports like hockey, soccer and chess, Justin began to show a remarkable ease in learning to play the piano, guitar, drums, and even the trumpet. Many home videos attest to this. These tapes show Justin almost like a one-man band while he was just a child. As the prodigy stood out in music first in a way totally unknown to the general public, it began to feed. Patty was tasked with retelling a story to any willing listener. The child was learning independently. Quickly, Patty detected in her son the raw material of a success that could be huge. She then set out on a campaign for the world to know him too. Justin debuted in a young Canadian talent contest, finishing second. Around the year 2008, Patty saw in the emerging success of YouTube a platform from which to showcase her son's talents. She frequently uploaded videos showing Justin performing songs by renowned artists. Justin Timberlake, Stevie Wonder, or the rapper Usher were part of his repertoire. The intention was for one of these videos to reach these artists, or a talent scout who wanted to give him a one-way ticket to the United States. And that was indeed what happened. A music executive who was browsing YouTube came across the unknown Justin Bieber, and he didn't need too many seconds of playback to know that he was onto something. Something big, even though it was still in a small package. Chronicle of a Lonely Child. When Justin Bieber was discovered, his successful career began to rise, but also began the ordeal of being exposed to a severe work routine without rest and without adults around him who cared too much about his well-being. Singer and songwriter Usher Raymond IV was one of the first to show interest in sponsoring Justin's career, and he even won an economic tug-of-war with other producers in order to gain control over the young man's career. He was also the one who introduced him to the world of fame from places that very few people have access to. And it's here where some pieces of the puzzle are missing, but can be imagined without effort. Being one of the biggest child stars in the United States. When he was just 15 years old, Justin forged a close and suggestive friendship with a now disgraced famous rapper. We're talking about P. Diddy. This is in the wake of the scandal that surrounded the arrest of this businessman. As a result of all the dark secrets that came to light on the internet, a disturbing video from the mid-2000s started circulating again. In it, you can see a 15-year-old Justin Bieber announcing that he will spend the next 48 hours with the rapper, who was 40 years old at the time. In the video itself, P. Diddy hinted that in addition to giving the teenager a brand new car, they were going to let loose. Justin added, a bit more shyly, that they would get some girls. All of this takes on more and more terrible shades if you take into account the murky web of sexual parties and abuses that is now known to have surrounded P. Diddy. To make matters worse, another video soon appeared. In this one, Justin is older and appears certainly uncomfortable when he meets P. Diddy. Could something dark have happened between them, or is it just speculation? What kind of chaos was the rapper promising the teenage singer? Although Justin never gave a clear answer, perhaps some clues can be found in the words of Usher, his first musical godfather. And it is that shortly after Diddy's arrest and prosecution, Usher himself came out to make a public statement that when he was a teenager and had a very close bond with the tycoon, he had been exposed to wild things. When asked if he was forced to participate, Usher said he doesn't know and didn't fully understand what he was seeing. Automatically on the internet, theories began to surface about the kind of things that Justin Bieber might have seen or suffered during those crucial hours he spent inside a mansion that is now sadly infamous. For internet users, the fact that P. Diddy had exposed teenagers to simply watch the sexual parties that were taking place in his house was a way to corrupt them into becoming future accomplices or victims. It was never entirely clear how this situation impacted Justin Bieber. But definitely, the years that followed that video were a preamble for more and more darkness. A darkness that insisted on surrounding the life of a young artist who seemed to be walking on the edge of a success as evident as it was dangerous. Such was Justin's success in his peak years that every detail of his person, however small, aroused massive curiosity and an inexplicable morbid fascination. Even long before reaching the age of majority, there were constant allusions to the singer's emotional and sexual life. Proof of this are the countless comments of this nature that even renowned American television journalists made to the teenager. A reprehensible campaign to sexualize Justin Bieber had been launched, which, to be fair, had already been seen many times in the case of female pop stars like Britney Spears. In Justin's specific case, there were 3 occasions when he could be seen in front of the cameras. A particular harassment on the young star who always seemed quite uncomfortable and introverted. In 2012, when he won an American Music Award, former Playboy model Jenny McCarthy groped and kissed him, to which Justin stated, "I feel a bit violated right now." Although the words were taken humorously, Justin seemed to have normalized the common practice in all his public appearances. When he was 16 years old at the Brit Awards 2011, the host James Corden made him uncomfortable on several occasions, asking him how old he was and asking him to smell his perfume. In various interviews with Ellen DeGeneres, the host constantly referred to the singer's body or asked questions about his private life. The woman also boasted about showing private photos, even though Justin was trying to keep a low profile. The truth is that with so much expectation around him, when Justin made his romance with Selena Gomez public, the media exploded. But it was far from being an idyllic and stable bond. It seemed like the prelude to the hell the singer would go through once adolescence was over. The relationship between Justin and Selena, who were 2 global stars of the moment, lasted for 7 turbulent years, full of comings, goings, misunderstandings, and the permanent suspicion that it was a toxic bond, especially because Justin's personality was becoming increasingly unpredictable. Both started dating in 2011 and positioned themselves as the ideal couple. But rumors of cancelled weddings, infidelities, and songs from both of them hinting at the jealousy that was circulating began to complicate everything. In 2016, when it was not yet known whether Selena and Justin were still together or not, Hailey Baldwin, the third party, came on the scene. At that point, it was already difficult to follow Justin's romantic saga, and another issue was becoming more prominent in this plot of love triangles and polyamorous relationships. Justin's noticeable physical change suggested that something was not right. Suddenly, the image of the good, smiling and innocent boy was left behind, and traits similar to those of other child stars who had fallen from grace appeared. His fame as a bad boy was now cemented, seemingly fulfilling the curse once more. And it wasn't long before scandals became the reason why Justin would make the news over and over again. His music career seemed like a thing of the past. Justin was now famous for sinking in front of everyone. Between scandals and arrests, Justin's legal troubles seem to have started in January 2014 when Miami police arrested him for speeding, only to find out he was intoxicated. In addition, there was the possibility that he was participating in illegal races for money. Finally, he got out of that jam by paying a bail. However, there was a much stranger judicial event a year earlier, and it found Justin far from his home. More precisely in Argentina. Things had already been splattered with criticism at his November concert at River Stadium, when the young man had swept the stage with an Argentine flag that the audience had thrown at him. But things reached a new peak when a judge intervened over something that had happened between one concert and another. Apparently, during a night out at the Buenos Aires Club Incorporated, both the Canadian singer and his bodyguards were involved in a series of scuffles with the public and journalists. The results? Some scratches and a complaint. Justin, after dodging Argentine justice, declared via video conference in 2016. By then, he had already accumulated several bad experiences with the law. Going back to the year 2014, when his first arrest occurred, Justin went through truly turbulent months. In a short time, he was accused of assaulting his limousine driver in Toronto and for vandalism by attacking a neighbor's property. It seemed that things were going downhill in the life of the young star, who had long since left his angelic image behind. While the tabloid press talked about his flirtations with Selena Gomez and Hailey Baldwin, the police press was having a field day with Bieber's scandals. Others were asking what was really going on with him. The specter of substance use and mental health issues began to emerge as possibilities. Meanwhile, Justin seemed to revel in fueling rumors about his fragile stability. A bit of that seemed to be the basis of his strange bond with rapper and actor Jaden Smith, son of Will Smith. The two young men had met during the filming of The Karate Kid, starring Smith and featuring music by Bieber. And from then on, they were often seen as good friends, but as they grew older, that relationship became more atypical. In addition to countless appearances in which they were seen with very close physical contact. Both used to make a sort of cult of ambiguity and strangeness. They had completely moved away from the childish image they had in the past and seemed to want to show themselves as rebels, and on the sidewalk, opposite to the Hollywood and jet set standards. Their disheveled appearances and their peculiar appearances before the press could be a warning sign for some, while for others they were simple calls for attention. Were they former stars on the brink of the abyss, or were they just having fun? Somehow were they trying to denounce what had happened to them when they were in childhood? In 2020, when Justin released his music video Yummy, many believed there was a deeper meaning behind it. In the video, you could see adults dressed in gala and Justin in a sports outfit among them. In the images, you can see the event attendees eating excessively and unpleasantly, and on the plates, there is a picture of young Justin. The shooting was overwhelming for Justin, who cried at every scene cut he was reliving. At those adult parties that seemed to refer to the white parties that would soon come to light, that's when the figure of Diddy Combs enters the scene once again. When the lid was lifted on the abuses in his mansions, many names began to surface among victims and accomplices. In the first group, Justin was mentioned because of the sort of mentorship that Combs had done with him when he was a teenager. Will Smith was also named as one of the rapper's closest friends, and also someone who knew a lot and had kept even more quiet. The question of whether his son Jaden had suffered any kind of attack as a minor was not long in coming. In this context of parties and human trafficking, the relationship between Will and Jaden had red flags. Many internet users shared videos in which the veteran actor was kissing his son on the mouth despite his resistance. For months, the videos showing the close friendship between Jaden and Bieber raised many new questions, but none have been answered. The two young men have recently refrained from commenting on P. Diddy and Justin. They strive to show that they have regained control of their lives, but no matter how hard he tries, the idea that his life is a ticking time bomb always looms over him. And that's how our story comes back to the beginning. The resurgence. Justin Bieber began to show public signs of wanting to take a new direction from the age of 30, as if the new decade would bring him more stability and commitment to redirect his career and personal life. In June 2022, he made headlines for a video on his Instagram account in which he was seen dealing with a significant facial paralysis. With one eye that he couldn't blink and the right half of his face completely immobile, Justin shared that he has Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, a consequence of a shingles outbreak that affects the facial nerve near the ears. Although it was a temporary outbreak, it was enough for the singer to reconsider the pace of his day-to-day life up to that point. That's why he postponed a good part of his world tour concerts justice and asked for patience to improve his health. All these were not the only warning signs from his body in recent years. Previously, Justin announced that he had Lyme disease caused by a tick bite and chronic mononucleosis, an ailment that also takes a toll on his body every so often. All of this helped the public opinion to start having another view on Justin and his supposed deterioration over the last years. Perhaps he was not a young man seeking attention and breaking stereotypes, but a large part of his problems were also linked to health issues. The singer's family life influenced his image to progressively become cleaner. On August 23, 2024, his son, Jack Blues Beaver, was born, marking a new facet of his life as a father. Meanwhile, Justin aimed to present himself as a family man. And he filled his social networks with snapshots in which he also shows a good bond with his father and his brothers. In the last weeks of March 2025, the specter of problematic consumption once again settled on him. Disturbing messages began to appear on the singer's networks. He talked about feeling suffocated and needing to let go of the hatred. The situation immediately worried a public that always seemed to be expecting Justin to fall back into a pit. A few days before the recording of this video, with Justin's little son turning 7 months old, the singer stated in an interview that he is going through self-esteem and anger management issues. "Sometimes I think I hate myself when I feel like I'm starting to lose authenticity." He posted a photo of himself playing the piano just like when he was a child. The truth is that Justin is going through a new stage of his life, in which he seems to want to leave behind the controversies to show a more introspective and transparent facet. For that, social networks seem to be his display window, there where he can control his own story instead of others talking about him. The big question is, will he succeed this time? Let's return to the initial images. What does that Justin with huge clothes and partially disoriented tell us? Is he still asking for help or just tired of knowing that he can't do anything to satisfy everyone? Now he's making fun of everyone. Will he be able to find the longed-for peace, as happened to other child stars? Or is he doomed to fall again and again until there's no strength left? Who are the silent and anonymous culprits of all the pain that he says he suffered in the long and stormy years that brought him to this present? Who are these beings in the shadows that parasitize individuals until they dehumanize them and turn them into something whose only purpose is to be squeezed? What will these people do if they find out that Justin is trying to escape from their tentacles? Will they finally let him go, or sooner or later, will they set a new and fatal trap for him?